The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is a TIP VIP Friday. Mike Tipton hanging out with Augustine Pimentel. So much that we get to talk about today. We got the NFL draft. We have the NBA playoffs. Wow, snooze fest for Augustine with the NBA draft, or the NFL draft, rather. Once again, it's a TIP VIP Friday. Give us your questions. We got answers for you if you got those coming up. The links have been shared out if you want to be a part of the show. No Beastrilla today, at least so far. Maybe he shows up a little bit later, Augustine. Maybe we get more smiles out of him whenever he shows up on the show as well.
That'll be the day. That will be another day. And I'm sorry when that happens. I think we're bringing the apocalypse back to Earth.
The apocalypse will be here. Let me go ahead and do this so that way people can see us a little bit better. August, look at that. That might be too close. A little August Ferratu action for you. Hold on, I got to find the picture again. There we go.
There we go. Hey, but that's not my ear though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, your ear much creepier than Nosferatu's ear. So
thanks.
So yesterday we had.
I got one question for you, Tip.
I've got an answer for you.
So W's amazing. W,
yeah.
I'm having it in here. Well, I'm not a VIP like you. I don't have my W thing, but could you pronounce that thing? What it doesn't have again?
Maltodextrin fillers.
Wow.
I mean, come on, man. Even if I spell it out phonetically, so that way I can understand what it is. At least I understand what it is.
Yeah, like a comment I made this week on your show that you said on air, which was I didn't think you were going to say it, but anyway.
And you got to remember, I'm like Ron Burgundy. You put it out there, and it's going to show up. That's why I need producers on this show.
Yeah. I was looking at that, and I was at work while listening to that, and you actually said it. I went, my face just went.
Well, again, I told that's you got to remember. There's a little bit of dyslexia here with me. So whenever I first read it, I thought it said Celsius, And I was like, oh, that'd be cool if we were brought to you by Celsius. I was like, are you working on something? Those were the first things that came through my mind. And then whenever I read it out all the way through, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, what have I done?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But you can it better than anyone else, Augustine. You've seen it for a decade now. Whenever I have the thought in my head, sometimes the words come out and you see the regret in my eyes as I'm saying it.
Yeah, I think when God was inventing you, you know, that filter between brain and mouth, he was like, where did I drop that thing? And then all of a sudden you're being born, you're like, oh well, I guess he's gonna be in the radio.
I was like, well, F it. That guy will be all right.
Yeah, the Southwest Stephen A.
Who is this man?
We don't know. Hey, but I wanted to start, Tip, and we talked about it a little bit, you know, how the NFL draft went yesterday. And yes, I'm not an NFL draft kind of guy because I'm the kind of guy that goes, well, you know, they're drafting college kids that may or might not pan out. But here's one pick that I think will actually be the pick of, you know, not just the season, but for a lot of seasons to come. And you might go, what? And it wasn't a sexy pick at all, but I think it's going to work wonders for a team that has not won the Super Bowl since 1985. I'm talking about your beloved Chicago Bears. I'm talking about their pick, Colston Loveland. And this guy's just, I mean, a lot of people saw him in college and he was like good blocker, hell of a route runner, heck of a route runner, and can actually play that tight end position. And Tip, I like tight ends, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think tight ends make or break a team on the offense more than any other position. I mean, yes, wide receivers are always going to be sexy, but I think the Gronkowskis, the Gonzalez, all these guys made these teams more because they weren't just an outlet for their quarterbacks. They were a prime target, and this is what's missing from the top teams in the NFL right now.
Keith Engel saying, good morning, gents. I was watching my show and concerned by the size of my head. Now I see Tip and I feel better, basically saying I got a big old fat head, which is okay. It's fine. I'm not hurt by it too much. That is. He said the Roku feed, that is, lots of winners last night, just a few losers. Now, going to what you said, to me, the tight end / quarterback relationship is one of the most important relationships in sports, right? Look at how Antonio Gates made Phillip Rivers, how Jason Witten made Tony Romo, right? That's your security blanket. You have to have a guy that you trust in that position. Now, my question to the Chicago Bears is, if you have Tyler Warren there, who's looked at as the best tight end in the NFL, like super athletic, a Taysom Hill kind of guy that you can move him around in a bunch of different positions, why would you draft Colston Loveland? Now, they must just say, look, we have, and they already have a good tight end in Cole Kmet, which is kind of odd to me. So maybe they're trying to run a two tight end system, a la what the Patriots used to do back in the day with Gronkowski and the other guy whose name we cannot say anymore.
A killer combination, by the way.
It was 100%. 100%. But to me, Tyler Warren should have been that guy. Like, I'm fine drafting a tight end in that position, but you have to draft the best tight end that's available, and that was Tyler Warren. The fact that he wasn't drafted, the Bears must love, and I mean absolutely love, Colston Loveland, because if this goes wrong for them, which it can, if it goes wrong for them, everyone's going to look at the Colts, and that's who he's going to be compared to as well. You could have drafted that guy. And if Tyler Warren has a halfway decent career and Colston Loveland doesn't, like, even if they're not, on the same tier, even if Colston Loveland is a really good player, but he's not a Hall of Fame player, that's going to be his comparison. You know what I mean?
Completely agreed.
Drafted number 10 overall.
The only thing we have to look at is, I think Loveland, and I was watching some videos yesterday, he looks just a tad not lighter on foot, but his routes seem so tight though. And you need that with a young QB. You need that with a young QB. And just Warren he's a freak of nature. Granted, complete freak of nature, but he depends too much on his freakiness to actually get the ball. And Loveland, I think he's more of a route runner. He's a big boy too. But the thing is, I think he fits better with what Chicago is trying to do.
And I guess that would be it, right? Like Chicago, whenever you have Caleb Williams, you want to have a guy that it's all about timing, right? And Colston Loveland, to me, yeah, it's crisp routes, like you said, just very sharp, the way that it should be. Tyler Warren, though, Tyler Warren's the guy that can get you those 50-50 balls. He's that guy that if you don't make the perfect throw, he can get that ball. Like he's going to vacuum it up. So for me, that's the difference between them, right? Maybe what Chicago wants is just the crisp route running. We want to make sure we have a timing precision offense, which is kind of what Ben Johnson ran whenever he was in Detroit. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. Our guy Keith Engel saying the tight end is too often overlooked. Warren should have gone sooner, though. I feel bad for Tyler Warren because he's in quarterback hell right now in Indianapolis. You don't know if it's going to be Anthony Richardson. You don't know if it's going to be Daniel Jones. We've seen what Daniel Jones has to offer. We've kind of seen what Anthony Richardson has to offer as well. And for me, that's just not a good position for him. But if anything, you don't need to have a good quarterback to be a good tight end. And we saw that last year with Las Vegas and Brock Bowers. Las Vegas' quarterback situation last year was god-awful. Now Brock Bowers is one of the best tight ends that we have in the NFL. Keith Engel saying, what are the Falcons thinking trading a 2026 first-rounder to get back into the late first round of this draft? It was odd. It really was. There were some weird trades, Augustine. I don't know how much you paid attention to it, but the Jaguars trading number 5, number 36, and number 136, along with a first-round draft pick next year to move up 3 spots to trade with the Cleveland Browns to get Travis Hunter. I get it that Travis Hunter was the best athlete in this draft, but that feels like giving up way too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to move – I mean, when you move up 3 spaces, I mean, is that really worth it? But when you move up maybe from, 25 to 10, that feels more like a better trade. Other than that, I mean, that talent in this NFL draft was a little bit more even than other drafts, wouldn't you say?
It wasn't a sexy draft. And I said that yesterday doing my mock draft. There was going to be a ton of defensive players. That's what happened, right? It was a ton of defensive players that were taken. They're outside of Travis Hunter and maybe Cam Ward, maybe Shedeur Sanders. There aren't names that people can say, oh, okay, yeah, that guy, I want him on my team.
Shedeur? Who's that?
Adding depth.
Shedeur Sanders. That sounds familiar. He's not a first rounder.
Tommy Cananza saying that Travis Hunter better be worth that trade. Whenever you make a trade like that, I don't think anyone's ever going to be worth it. Like, you can be a Hall of Fame guy, but if you don't win a championship, the words Jacksonville Jaguars and Super Bowl champion just don't seem to go together for me.
Good thing B's not here, because the same goes for the Lions.
I was about to say the same thing goes for the Detroit Lions, right? Like, you can say that all you want, but it just doesn't seem that way. It also goes with the Dallas Cowboys. Even though they're a 5-time Super Bowl champion, it's been 30 years. Again, I was 11 years old. I sounded the same, but I was 11 years old the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. But looking at some of the trades that were made, like, it was a weird trade, right? And throughout the draft, like all this whole draft process, you heard Shedeur Sanders' name being linked with the New York Giants. They draft Abdul Carter number 3 overall, which I think was a smart move for them to do. Then they trade back into the draft at number 25. They get that draft pick from Houston. And I think everyone could have thought to themselves, okay, this is where Shedeur Sanders is going to go. After the Pittsburgh Steelers, skipped on him, this is where he's going to go. Now the Giants draft Jackson Dart, who I don't think anyone had as a first-round quarterback. Most people had as a late second-round, early third-round quarterback. Shedeur Sanders falls out of the first round. But I think of this, Augustine, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Uh-oh.
Cleveland Browns have the first pick in the second round, and they have the fourth pick in the second round. I can see a scenario where the Cleveland Browns get Shedeur Sanders, team him back up with Travis Hunter, and you have, once again, one of the more dynamic duos that we saw in recent college football history. You now team them up in the NFL at the pro level. You've done some good things drafting Mason Graham. You're going to have yourself a halfway decent defense in Cleveland. I don't think there's any expectations of this team being a playoff contender or a Super Bowl contending type team. Now you have a quarterback, now you have a receiver, and they actually have what no other quarterback receiver duo combo coming into the draft is going to have, and that's chemistry because they've played the last 3 years together.
Yeah, that's very important to have chemistry, but do you think their chemistry will translate over to the NFL? That's the thing. Is Mr. Sanders is he a viable NFL quarterback?
I forgot about that. The trade that was happened. I keep thinking that Cleveland drafted him. It's so dumb. You know what? They made a great trade, but yeah, I forgot about that. Travis Hunter being in Jacksonville now.
Yeah. That's even I think I remember that one. So, but the question still remains: is Shedeur Sanders an NFL type quarterback?
Well, now I think if you draft him in the second round, there's none of that first round pressure on him, right? Like he cost himself a ton of money, and I think you can go with the immaturity factor, right? Like that was the thing. And I kept thinking to myself, how bad did his team interviews have to be for him to have interviewed with the Steelers, 3 or 4 times, and the Steelers to still pass on him? For him to be linked with the Giants to trade back into the first round, and the Giants to pass on him as well. Like, how bad did his team interviews have to be in order for him to cost himself not just being a top 3 pick, but being just completely knocked out of the first round completely?
I mean, completely agreed. What was he saying in these interviews, or how was he dressed for them? And did he come in with like with tennis shoes and
Well, for me, like I think that's the new style right now, right? Like if you saw Ashton Genty's outfit yesterday, like it was a nice suit, but he was wearing Crocs. And it was kind of like you're at the NFL draft and you're wearing Crocs and socks, which to me is no, it wasn't even that. Like it was the opened back Crocs. Like it was the traditional.
Oh, the normal Crocs?
Yeah.
Ew.
They were black. They looked nice, but it was one of those things of like you're at the NFL draft. I get being comfortable, my guy, but come on, maybe a couple of dress shoes. Tommy Cananza saying he probably went in there thinking he was his dad. LOL. And I think that's a lot that has to do with it, right? Deion Sanders made it seem like it was divine intervention, manifest destiny, that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter were going to go number 1 and number 2. The more that you looked at the tape, the more you saw that Shedeur Sanders was bailed out by Travis Hunter, right? So for me, there's that backdrop. And maybe I was, being too optimistic, trying to think that Cleveland might have drafted him, Travis Hunter, and maybe they bring that together. Now, if I'm Cleveland, I think I've just changed my own mind, realizing that Travis Hunter ain't going to be there. I think I ride with Kenny Pickett now. You know what I mean? Like, and looking at the picks that are coming up, you have the Browns, you have Houston, you have Tennessee, who just drafted Cam Ward. You have the Browns once again, Las Vegas, New England, Chicago, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets taken at New Orleans at 40, but that's still a big maybe.
It's funny because, thinking about this also, is this also a Sanders thing about, being overhyped? And I understand being overhyped. I mean, we had Todd Marinovich back in the day that was overhyped as this robo QB, and he obviously did nothing. But is this more on Mr. Dad Sanders than on Shedeur? Is this people not wanting all the off the field stuff that may go on with Shedeur, and maybe his father taking some of the lights away from the actual team when he goes to these games? Yeah, it's hard to say.
Well, for me, I if anything, I feel like this has to be a wake-up call for Shedeur Sanders, right? Like he's got to be able to look in the mirror and say to himself, damn, like maybe I do have some growing up that I need to do. Maybe there's like a level of maturity I have to do. And we've seen it, right? When guys get passed over, they get a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove everyone wrong. So hopefully this is a motivator for him and he can make it to the NFL. He can have himself a long career, do something, be serviceable, because that has to be one of the worst feelings that anyone has to go through. And I feel like he had to know it was going to happen, because you got to remember, he was the last person to be like, nah, I'm not going to go to the NFL draft. I think I'm just going to hang out here at home. He had to have known, man, I might have messed up those interviews. I might have really messed up my shot here. And as we see, it felt like it was manifest destiny for him to be drafted by the Steelers, because the Steelers need a quarterback. For the Steelers to still need a quarterback, go defensive line in that position, it really makes you wonder. Because like I said, he was interviewed by them 3 or 4 times. It's not like, and I wonder how many times they were like, okay, we're just doing this to see if maybe something clicked in his mind with all the outside noise that he's got to be a little more mature. And they just realized, man, he's not ever gonna mature.
Yeah, and that's the problem with most players coming out too, unless something happens all of a sudden that it clicks, that you're now going to be considered an actual pro, and being an actual pro has its caveats and it has its responsibilities, has a lot of things, and are they ready for this, being the big fish on campus? Shador isn't ready, and I don't think there's a bunch of them not ready, but they'll get their wake up call. And here's the thing: yes, there will come out millionaires, but how many are going to overspend that money anyway? It's a tough balance, and Shador, I think, is the prime example of he's got the dad that did it in the NFL, but he hasn't proved anything. Does he deserve anything? No, he doesn't. He needs to prove it. And by the way this all thing turned out, it seems like his interview was like was like an off the heck interview. Oh yeah, we didn't like what you said, hence we're not going to draft you. Simple as that.
And I think that's going to be the cautionary tale for like a lot of players going forward. Is it doesn't matter who your connections are. If you don't interview well, then it can really cost you. And as we're seeing right now, like what it's going to cost Shador Sanders going from being what was projected as a number 3 overall pick to not even being drafted in the first round is like tens of millions of potential earnings that he could have had just off
$34 million right off the bat.
Yeah. And that's hard to make. Like I always think of like the Le'Veon Bell situation. Whenever Le'Veon Bell, sat out that season, and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to play for $8 million." Well, you're not going to make that $8 million back, dude. Mm-hmm. Like it's just not going to happen. Mireya Reyes saying humility goes a long way. It's a great reminder that things are earned and not given. And that's the thing that I think frustrates me with this whole situation is you go through college, like making Jackson State relevant, making Colorado relevant. Now, sure, they didn't win any bowl games, but you could see the raw talent was there. He was putting in the work. For you to squander it just off of interviews because you think it's all God-given, man, I hope that's a wake-up call. Because if it's not, then this kid's never going to have a career.
And here's my question for you, Tip, and question for everybody out there. Doesn't matter really who your dad is. At the end of the day, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't, because it's going to be your effort and your pull. Yes, maybe LeBron has a little pull. Yes, he got his son this nice contract, but that's going to end pretty soon. As soon as that contract's out, nobody's going to sign Bronny anyway. He'll go to maybe Europe or something like that, have a nice career in Europe, maybe.
Well, it goes to show that nepotism can get you in the door, right? They can get you in the door, but you have to have the hard work, the work ethic, all that stuff in order to stay inside the building, because just because you got in doesn't mean people can't kick you out. And I think that's going to be the issue with like Bronny James, right? Do you see enough from Bronny James that validates him being on an NBA roster in the next couple of years, right? Because what is it? He's got a 4-year contract. LeBron isn't going to play for 4 years, so LeBron isn't going to be able to be that security blanket for him. The same thing with Deion Sanders. I can get you to the draft. I can get you to being, right at the doorstep of being in the NFL. But Deion isn't going in on these interviews. Deion isn't doing all the work. Deion's already a Hall of Fame player, right? Mm-hmm. Deion's a somewhat decent coach. We're going to find out what that is this year coming up. But nepotism can get you in the door. What are you doing to stay there? Because that's the thing, right? Like your name recognition, all that stuff can go a long way. What are you doing to stay there? What are you doing to earn it, to deserve it? And that's the issue that we're seeing, because you can say that with the Mannings, right? Like Archie Manning was able to get his kids all of the tools they needed to maybe make it to the NFL. But Eli and Peyton put in the work to stay in the NFL as long as they did.
Yeah, I mean, 2 sons with 2 Super Bowls each, I think.
Yeah.
And one of them both against Patriots. But anyway.
I want to give a shout out to Chad Leva, who's tuned in over on Facebook, to Catalina Cervantes, who's tuned in over there as well, Britt Mack on Instagram, along with Self Wellness Spa, Puga 20, Charles Johnson 507, and Kahlo 9440. Thank you all so much for tuning in on the various places that you can get this. Remember, we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and of course on Roku via National Streaming Sports. It is a TIP VIP Friday. You got questions, we got answers. We're obviously breaking down the draft. Augustine, let's go over the first couple of picks here and give me your thoughts on where you thought these people went. The Tennessee Titans drafting Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami. You already know my thought process on this. I didn't think that it was much of a difference between Cam Ward and Will Levis. Apparently the Titans did. Or do you think they just succumbed to the pressure of, you got to draft a quarterback?
I think they succumbed to the pressure of actually just drafting a quarterback. I mean, quarterbacks were pretty light this draft. There weren't no big names out there or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's what the Titans needed anyway. So,
well, but that's the thing, is I don't see, once again, like maybe Cam Ward's slightly better than Will Levis. I feel like at that position you could have drafted Travis Hunter and kept him out of your division, because Jacksonville trades up and now you got to go up against Travis Hunter twice a year. Like, you could have done that. And that's going to come back and bite you, because Travis Hunter, we could all say, that was the best player in this NFL draft. How do you skip on the best player in the NFL draft for a quarterback prospect whenever you already have a quarterback prospect?
Yeah, it sounds like Jerry Jones was making all the decisions for all the teams now. But
we're going to try to bring Jerry Jones into this.
Hey, Jerry, I love Jerry. He had a great show. I love it when people went Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. But it's hard. The first pick, I mean, the pressure of being the first pick is just one of those things that carries it, throughout the season and throughout a couple seasons. And, if you're not the best at it, or at least really good at it, you're going to be labeled a bust. And does Ward have the mental stability to do it? I don't know. I really don't know. Did any quarterback have it in this draft? No. Are there other players that were better? Yes. And I did they screw up on the first round draft? Yes, they did.
And that's the thing that I think is going to come back and bite them in the ass is, again, you now have to go up against Travis Hunter twice a year in your division. And that division's wide open, right? Like, people say
it's still the Jaguars, though. It's still the Jaguars.
Yeah, but that's what the Jaguars needed. Is they needed some talent. They needed a guy like Travis Hunter to help out on both sides of the ball, right? Like, they needed an additional weapon for Trevor Lawrence to be able to do some stuff. Now, I think they overpaid. I legitimately think that they overpaid to get him, but now you kept him. Again, like, he could have been the number 1 overall pick. Is that going to be something that kind of fuels him of, why are you taking this quarterback who didn't do as good in college as I did, right? Like, we have similar journeys, but I did so much better. I won the Heisman Trophy. I was the best player in college football for the last couple of years. You're going to draft him over me?
Now here's my question: where are you going to play Travis Hunter?
You're going to play him on both sides of the ball. Like I
You
don't.
are.
I don't think that you're going to have him on every single down on offense. He's going to be primarily on defense, so he's going to be getting opportunities to pick off Cam Ward, and as we know, he's a really good cornerback. And you'll have packages for him on the offensive end as well, right? Like he won't be a full-time wide receiver, but you'll have packages for him where you go 4 deep, and why not have him on the field, even if it's as a decoy most of the time?
I don't know. I just think somebody like that talent, you just keep him where he's the best. And I agree. He's best at, at cornerback. That's where I think he's gonna do the most damage against any other team. Yeah, Travis Hunter is a beast, but I would just leave him at defense. Don't put him on offense, because he'll be a target. I mean, he will be a bona fide target for other teams to actually hit. So keep him on the defensive line, on the defensive side, and go from there.
The Crooked Commish giving us a little bit of love. You said it right there perfectly, Augustine. I can't think of a better way to segue it. Whenever you think about beastly things, you think about Just the Tip.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just the Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
As a reminder, Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton and save on all your male grooming needs. Augustine, look me in the eyes and tell me that you don't want to make sure you're looking your best at all the time. Just all the time. You want to make sure, not just from head, but all the way down to your other head, that you are looking as good as physically possible. And myhappynuts.com with promo code Mike Tipton will get you where you need to be, especially during the summertime. No more chafing, no more smells, no more duck butter, no more of that nonsense. You are good to go with www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all your male grooming needs.
That's way too much.
Tommy Cananza saying, I think that the commish just tunes in for Just the Tip. He always tunes in at that time, right? Like he always wants to be here just for the tip. And then he dips out.
Solo la quintita.
Shedeur Sanders put a tweet out yesterday, Augustine. I want to get your thoughts on this as we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, the way that he slid out of the first round, saying, bro, I am not a second-round talent. Whoever's getting me, trust the process. It's lights out, game over. Call it what you want. I like that there's motivation there. But instead of saying, I'm not a second-round talent.
Yes, he is.
It's proven. You are. That's where you're going to be drafted. Maybe.
Hey, Tip, what if he doesn't get drafted in the second round?
And that's exactly what I was going to say, right? So you got to look at who's coming up. Cleveland, they've got quarterback issues. So maybe, just maybe, they draft him there. They've got 2 picks in the next 4 picks, right? 33, number 36. Then you got Houston. They don't need a quarterback. Tennessee just drafted a quarterback. The Raiders just paid Geno Smith. The Patriots don't need a quarterback. The Bears don't need a quarterback. Maybe at 40, you go to the New Orleans Saints, but they just passed at you at number 9. Are you going to want to play there after everyone had you linked of you're not going to fall out of the top 10? The Bears again, the Jets maybe, San Francisco doesn't, Dallas doesn't, Indianapolis maybe, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, Green Bay, the Chargers, Buffalo, Carolina, Houston, Baltimore, Detroit, Washington, Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia. Out of all those teams that I just listed, none of them need a quarterback. So if you aren't drafted at number 40 by the New Orleans Saints, 3rd round, here I come.
I mean, and the thing is, when you put that tweet out, the people that interviewed you are looking at that as well.
Yeah, and they're going to sit there and say to themselves, maybe you're not a 2nd round talent. Maybe you're a 3rd round talent. Maybe you're a 4th round talent. But I mean, quarterback. I second round, third round to me is always prime ground for any type of quarterback, right? Like the Dallas Cowboys getting Dak Prescott in the fourth round. You can tell by looking at him, he wasn't a fourth round guy. He might have been late first round, early second round type of talent guy, right? Maybe that's where you take a flyer on him. And with Cleveland having 2 picks in the first 4 here in the second round, I can see them genuinely drafting not Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders as a project quarterback. There's not going to be any pressure on him at all. But if he makes it past the New Orleans Saints again, we're watching in real time the free fall of somebody's stock. Like it was like watching the stock market a couple of weeks ago, just watching it tank down into the ground. Your 401k is going to be Shador Sanders.
That, yeah, don't remind me. But yeah, my stocks just went also lower yesterday when our dear number 47 said tried to make good with the central bank. But anyway, that's a different show.
What are you trying to say?
That's with Andrew Polk. But I think there is a major possibility that Shador drops to third or fourth round. I mean,
I can't see it in the fourth round. Like third round, now you don't have to worry about any type of pressure. Again, though, I think he's going to go here early in the second round.
I would like to see him drop to the third or fourth round because the NFL should have some huevos rancheros to actually say to a college kid, you're not going to come in and command whatever you want. And that's and the NFL has a little bit of clout for that. You know, they might all these GMs might say, wait, he actually put that on Twitter? Let me tell you what I think. Let me call my other buddy GMs and tell them, don't draft this SOB until the fourth round, fifth round. What if he becomes Mr. Irrelevant?
Man, that would be wild if Shiloh were to get drafted before Shador, because Shiloh Sanders is also in this draft.
Yep.
He's being linked to the Dallas Cowboys in the late 6th round, early 7th round. Man, there's just no way. I don't think he slips that far. Because it's a quarterback, right? Like you always
I understand that, but would you as a GM, after all the stuff that's surrounding him, and when he puts out this tweet like that, are you going to take him seriously?
What I'm going to take it as is maybe this is motivation for him to mature, right? If the question is he mature enough, then I would take this as this is a chance for him to show me that he's mature, that he's going to take this seriously, that he's going to have that chip on his shoulder where he wants to prove everybody wrong, because it's got to be humbling and embarrassing to be linked as the number 3 overall pick and then not get drafted at all. Look at what that did for Aaron Rodgers, and he was drafted in the mid-20s. You were drafted not at all. Now, it's not as embarrassing as Geno Smith being there in the green room and getting drafted in the second round and having to sit there and soak all that in of, okay, well, when am I going to get taken, right? But you have to think about the party that was supposed to be planned yesterday at his house. Like all the people that were there. You can see when ESPN cuts to the cameras at his house how nervous and embarrassed he was to be in the position that he is in. So maybe they're taking it as a motivating fuel, right? Look at what that did for Tom Brady, a 6th round draft pick. Looking at all the people that were taken in front of him, Sturgeon Wynn and people like that were taken in front of him, where he's like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm the best quarterback that was ever taken. And Tom Brady did. I'm not saying Shador Sanders is going to do that, but hopefully it's a motivator, because if it's not, he's not going to be in the league very long.
And about maturing, Tip, what up, Gary?
Look at you getting some love. I like that. You got love twice already. Look at you.
Wait, I'm going to imitate your picture. Oh, no, don't do it. But here's the thing about maturing. It's not overnight, Tip. Maturing is not overnight. And you can say you matured, like we've been saying it for like 25 years.
I've never said it.
That's right. Well, Destiny said that you have matured. but I maybe it's just the emotion of, hey, I didn't get drafted right now, but is it the truth? Do you believe Shador Sanders actually matured over this?
It,
Ah,
it's a process, right? Like if this is step one to go down the road, I want to see what happens after he's drafted. Like let's say he's drafted today in the second round. Is it going to be like a whole bunch of like, let's go ahead and get the party started, or is it going to be okay? Let's knock this out. Let me go so I can start, learning what my team is and this and that. How hard is he going to take this? Is this going to be step one? Because if this isn't step one, you kind of already have your answer. If it is step one, now you have the ability to say, okay, maybe we're going down the right way, right? Gary Bryant talking about the trade between the Browns and the Jaguars, saying the Browns robbed the Jags in broad daylight. They sure did. Again, to move up three spaces here. A fifth or the number 5 overall pick, number 36 overall, number 136, and then a first round draft pick next year. Like you gave up a lot. And I
yeah.
get it. Travis Hunter to me was the best player in the draft. So maybe you think he's worth it. But man, the Browns fleeced the Jacksonville Jaguars. They skinned them. They're going to be a rug in the Browns facility now.
And going back real quick on Shador, I'll tell you how much I believe in Shador. And this is a joke, and to anybody out there who gets offended, I'm not sorry. So a guy calls AA and goes, "Hi, is this the place where you help guys with drinking?" He goes, "Yeah." And then the guy goes, "How do you make a margarita?" I think that's Shador Sanders, because I don't think this is going to be a wake up call for him. It's just going to be something that happened, and that's it. I don't think he's going to mature. I really don't think so. Because nothing in his past history says he's going to mature.
Gary Bryant saying that Shador Sanders needs to get his stuff together. Buddy is arrogant and entitled. I think he's a good player, but he has to learn humility. I think that's the process that started right now, right? Again, humbling, humility, embarrassment. That has to be the things that he was feeling yesterday. Like, I guess for me, I'm more of an empathetic type person where I hate watching that stuff happen to somebody, right? I don't pray for anybody's downfall. No matter how much of an asshole I may be, I'm not that type of guy. So for me to like sit there and you're watching it in real time, you're like, I'll take that. But I think that has to be step one. Now, what's he going to do? Because we've all been there, right? We've all had these epiphany type moments of, okay, maybe there's something that I need to change. Maybe there's something with me. Do you take that first step? Do you internalize it? Or do you just sit there and be like, you know what? That ain't me. That's not my problem. That's everyone else's problem.
And that's I think how Shador has been brought up anyway, because that's what Dion has done anyway. It's like, oh, it's not me. It's never on me. It's always on them. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be great. And that's, I think, what's happened to Shador.
Gary Bryant saying that Shador won't go past number 37 with the Las Vegas Raiders. Once again, this is what the first 10 picks, or I guess 7 picks in the second round are going to be. It's going to be the Cleveland Browns at 33. The Houston Texans got that draft pick from the Giants with the trade yesterday, where the Giants go up and they get Jackson Dart. I feel like they could have drafted him at 34, but whatever. The Tennessee Titans are going to be number 35. Cleveland at number 36. Again, that's the trade that they made with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Las Vegas Raiders at 37, where I had Shador Sanders going with the Raiders at pick number 6. The New England Patriots at 38. The Chicago Bears at 39. The New Orleans Saints at number 40. I can see a scenario of either the Browns, the Raiders, or the Saints taking him. But the question is, if they don't, it's a free fall down to the third round.
Yeah. And but also, would he come up with a tweet that's called I'm not a second round talent? Oh no, now you're a third round talent. You know?
Gary Bryant saying he's called upon to be a leader of men. This living in a bubble his whole life is an issue. Kid was on a reality show at 12 years old and then going on to say that Cleveland is a possibility. I apologize. I keep taking on and off my glasses. Out of nowhere, I got a terrible migraine right now. So
oh no,
that's going to be what the rest of my day is going to be like. But it's all good. I'm doing the show. I'm having a good time. I'm hanging out with Augustine. I'm hanging out with the comment section. It's going to be a good old time. Talking about Shador Sanders gives me a migraine.
You look cute though.
I get told that all the time, Augustine, that I should take my glasses off more because I have pretty eyes, which I do. That was my Shador Sanders moment. Maybe I need to mature. Maybe
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tommy Cananza saying, "You're a trooper, Mike. LOL." And then
Well,
what the hell does this say? I thought it said Tampax at first. That shows right there. Top of Max. Whenever he said that, I was like, "Wait a minute, guy! What? You telling me to change my pad out? What's going on here? That's not nice." And this is the thing, guys. Like, I deal with like chronic migraines, so I get them 2, 3, 4 times a week. Even like that's a bad week for me. Is like 4 times a week. This is my 3rd migraine this week, and I felt it coming on last night because of the light from having to be on the camera and all that stuff, right? So I felt it. I took some Excedrin last night, took my medication to fall asleep, thought that I was going to wake up in a good one, had a little bit of a migraine, and then my migraines aren't like the typical ones. Like I get this sharp pain that kind of goes down my arm. So if you ever see me on the show where I'm kind of like moving my arm around a lot, that's when the migraine sets in. You just kind of see me like doing little things like that.
Hey, Tip, so
that I'm going.
Do you need any medication from Juarez?
You know what? That's probably going to be the next step. It's right there. I'm just going to tell the VA, prescribe me whatever, but I'm going to go over the bridge and give me something. Augustine, tell me what I need.
There's a really good aspirin that has like caffeine and stuff like that. So that, or how about this? I can just take you to a friend of mine who's a doctor down here. He can prescribe you whatever, and you can be migraine free.
Gary Brand saying, "Nope, this is not Tim Walls. Didn't say Tampax." I was like, "Damn, dude. Well, what a mean thing to say." But that also shows you how blind I am. Like, if you guys actually saw how thick these glasses really were in reality, you'd be like, "How does that guy even see?" Like, my computer screen is maybe 2 feet away from me, and I cannot read any of the comments without my glasses, unless you see me squinting like this.
How about this, Gary? He does need a change of that. You're partially right.
The Crooked Commish saying the price you pay for defending our country. Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate that. Always as well. Saying tips. Jesus Christ.
Dismisses being placed on IR.
Oh, I tell you all the time, I don't go on the IR. I don't care what it is. I don't think that you even know this, Augustine. Whenever I was working at 1380, I was so Mike has USA insurance. He can't afford the doc. Yeah, you know what?
Hey, being, I cross back and forth like twice a day. I'll tell you this much. I can get you to the doctor who doesn't charge for the consult, and then if you buy the medication from that pharmacy, which is a national pharmacy, you get discounts.
Ah,
so I mean, you don't pay for the doctor consultation, and you get cheap medicine.
Nice.
Whenever you want to come to the doctor, just tell me. I'll pick you up, drive you down wherever you want, and then we can go to a great buffet, and I can get you a dentist, Tommy, whenever. Hey, can I put up my number out there?
I mean, I wouldn't put out my number. I would just say follow you on social media and then, slide into your DMs. But, if you want to put your number out, go ahead and put your number out.
All right. My number is 123. I'm kidding. No, I'll go the tip way. So if you guys want, if anybody needs, I know meds in the United States are expensive as heck. If anybody needs anything, just call me. I'll get them and then I'll send them to you wherever. And then, you'll be fine.
So Gary Bryant saying Ronnie Lott cuts off part of his pinky to play during a game. T.O. plays on a broken leg, Tip with a migraine. So this is the story that I was going to say. whenever I was at 1380, I was so worried about them taking that show away from me that if I missed anything, that I would like lose my mind, right? So I have a root canal procedure done.
Oh, I remember.
I finished the root canal at 4:30. Drive back to the radio station to do the show with the root canal at 5:00 because I'm like, I'm doing this damn show no matter what.
By the way, if that show is recorded, we need to listen to that again.
I'm it's got to be out there somewhere because I know there's a lot of sounding like this on the show. Because that Novocaine was hitting me hard, brother. I think I tried to take a sip of water and it just dribbled out the side of my mouth.
That was like in the 45th minute, right? That was right after the third segment.
Dude, it had to be somewhere like that. I was like, you know what? This is starting to become a little too much. Augustine saying, "Careful, Augustine. That's a felony."
No, because it's most of the medicines over here are you don't need a prescription.
Man, I need to move to a state where other things are prescribed.
New Mexico?
You know what? I can't even talk crap anymore. I was like, Texas versus New Mexico. They're basically the Spider-Man meme now. Just one of them has recreational stuff.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I mean, and maybe it's part of me trying to sell the border. The back and
hold on. I'm going to take myself out and we can do the Augustine infomercial. Let's do that.
Hold on. All right, maybe it's just me, but being part of the border, there's so many advantages to living and being part of the border ecosystem. And one of them is having really accessible healthcare south of the border. If you guys want anything, there's a couple organizations. One is the medical cluster, the tourism medical cluster, which you can go to, and they'll do everything for you from dentists to just coming out here and trying to get better. El Paso's great, and they're a great door for the medical tourism in Juarez.
There we go. I like it. The salesman known as Augustine. This is what's going to help me get through my headache today. So we might as well just get that one knocked out.
It's either fix it or forget it, right? Or forget
100%.
about it.
But you see, that's my thing. Is I've always been like, I have a high pain tolerance. I can deal with a lot of pain issues. I ruptured my ACL playing football whenever I was in the Air Force. My leg, instead of bending the right way like this, it snapped to the side. I just slightly pushed it back into shape, got out there and tried to, tackle the quarterback. And whenever I planted on it to run, couldn't do it. Took 2 months to get surgery on it, but I was still doing my job in the Air Force every single day.
Wait, 2 months?
2 months, because that's our military system. They didn't believe, despite the fact they saw my leg bend that way, they didn't believe that there was any damage done to it because an x-ray didn't show torn ligaments, ruptured ligaments, I would say.
It's like your leg is still there.
It's still there. Tommy Cananza saying we're getting medical tourism. I'm down with it. They do it in Turkey all the time. So why not here on the border?
Yeah, we do it to turkeys too all the time.
Saying it's the way in Puerto Rico as well. No prescriptions. I gotta make it back to my home country. My guy Brett Follin telling me to go out there and visit them. That was the thing with me, man. I fell in love with Guadalajara. I can picture myself living in Guadalajara. Like I can genuinely do that.
But Puerto Rico is a great country. O sea, lo que tiene que hacer es hacer esto de Puerto Rico y hacer las cosas bien, porque después tenemos que.
I feel like I should be offended right now.
Huh?
I feel like I should be offended right now.
Why? That's the way Puerto Ricans talk.
I know, but I should change my tampon.
Barry, you got something going here. You got them going on tampons. That's not good. But you know who should be wearing tampons?
Who's that?
That's the team that yesterday lost a 30-point lead
in
the NFL playoffs and probably lost Jay Morant for about 2 games.
Tommy Cananza saying that Augustine is more Puerto Rican than me. And then saying that in reality, I'm a bucket of spare parts. Dude, I'm held together with duct tape and bubble gum. Like, that's the only thing holding me together. It might not even be duct tape. It's probably Scotch tape and bubble gum.
It's like Southwest Airlines.
Yeah, there we go. I'm the Spirit Airlines of podcasting.
Ooh, that's even worse.
But yeah, like Ja Morant going down with that hip contusion, more than likely going to miss the next game. So that's a sweep right now for Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
Think about this, how demoralizing it has to be that you're Memphis. The first game you play against Oklahoma City, you lose by 51 points. The second game, you lose by 19 points. So you're thinking there's a little bit of progress. In game 3, you go into halftime with a 26-point lead. The lead was as big as 29 at one point in the game. And you blow that lead and wind up losing by 6. You get outscored by 35 points in the second half of this game. It's got to be like, it's done. Game 4, I would be surprised if game 4 is even a close game. Like I feel like Oklahoma City is going to come out, step on the throat of the Memphis Grizzlies, and call it game time.
Yeah.
That series hasn't been fun. One of the fun series that has been out there has been with the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. The Clippers take a 2-1 series lead here. Again, it sounds weird for me to say this. I see a real possibility of the LA Clippers being the NBA champion this year. There's a real possibility if Kawhi Leonard is healthy.
Completely agreed. They're making Nikola Jokic look human.
Yeah.
That's how good their defense is right now. They're making
it's not just Kawhi Leonard on defense, it's Zubats on defense. Zubats is going to be the defensive player of the year, which is strange because whenever he was traded over to the Clippers, it was like, who the hell is that guy? And think the Lakers had him. The Lakers could have had that guy as their centerpiece helping out anchoring the defense. Instead, they let him go over to the Clippers.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I think, and I'm going to say this out loud and I'm ashamed of it, I think the Lakers are going to win it.
The championship?
Yeah.
You're drunker than me on a Saturday night. Like I don't know what you're seeing that's making you think that.
I don't know. I don't know. Luka, I think, is just going to explode all of a sudden. I think his he's down. He's like, reminding him. He's like that meme of Wolverine looking at the picture and then you see the Dallas Mavericks. But I don't know. There's just something about the Lakers that I'm not drawn to them or anything. It's just, it just Luka, if he connects it, and it's the playoffs, that's when big players come out and play. If Luka connects it, there's no stopping that team.
I think that's a big if, right? Like that's going to be the biggest if. Now, once again, game 3 is going to be tonight on ESPN. The Lakers taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, that game in Minnesota. I just think that's who it should be. Like Minnesota to me is the better overall team. I think that the Lakers have the bigger stars, but Minnesota to me is the better overall team. Tommy Carranza saying no need to talk about the Mavs guys, LOL. And then Evan Mobley voted defensive player of the year. Okay.
Oh.
It should have been Zubats. Zubats played his ass off. All right, Augustine, we've got just a couple minutes left. I want to thank you so much for being a part of today's show. I'll give you 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Sell me on why people should visit this area.
People should visit El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, because we have warm people. We have, one of the things that really the ecosystem here is not only economics, but food, everything. There's so many things to do here in the Southwest that it's an amazing place, not just for business, but for leisure, for anything. There's things to do every day. There's no place better than El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, Las Cruces region. Think about it. There's so many things. There's so many. It just, I love this place. And if you don't love it, I'm not going to say leave it, but you should investigate more on what this place has to offer. And this is where just a tip is.
Augustine, that was about a minute. I said 20 seconds. We got to work on that timing, my friend.
You know me and my minutes.
Yeah, there you go. You wanted to make it last as long as you possibly could. I got you. All right, everyone. I want to thank you so much for being
I should have gone like this at the end. Anyway.
I want to thank you all so much for being a part of today's show. We'll see you again on Monday. Augustine, I got nothing but love for you, brother.
Same to you, buddy.
You all know there are hundreds of betting sites out there, but don't be fooled. Some sites are legal in some states only, some sites pay in Bitcoin, and some sites have even been hacked. However, BetUS has been in business for over 30 years. They have future bets that are paying out in the thousands, and there's still time for you to bet on the Super Bowl, the National Championship, and even the NBA Championship. Just use the QR code right here, and it'll take you to the BetUS site. BetUS. Check it out and bet responsibly. Are you a fellow car guy? I have a 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible, and nothing makes me happier in that car than when it's nice and clean. And you know who helps me get there? RevAutoCarCare.com. They help me get that pony looking as nice and shiny and ready for any of the car meetups that are all around the great city of El Paso. Spoil your car and go to RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton and view all the inventory they have and find out what works for you to help make your ride shine. RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton. Use promo code Tipton33 at checkout to save 15%.